try!
Hi, thanks everyone. Yeah, we've had a good discussion today with all the voting members. As we said there were 3 resolutions. The majority of members have voted in support of going from 5 teams to 4. The motion that did pass was to facilitate a discussion around the establishment of a Super Rugby Commission. We've had that commission in the past, so we're very comfortable to have that discussion and work out as to whether we do establish that in the future. But importantly, the majority of members have voted in support of going from 5 teams to 4. Happy to take questions.
Well, what is going to be the aim of that commission, Cameron?
Oh, we don't know. The commission's existed in the past. I mean, it really is. They're just suggesting it's another advisory body. So we were quite supportive of that. As I said, it's existed in the past, and we'll happily have a meeting to discuss what role it'll play.
Cameron, was there any further business done on leadership changes or anything like that?
No, there's no. In fact, the meeting was actually conducted in a very respectful and civil way. In fact, we recognise that, in fact, these are long-term trends. And in fact, everybody in the room, the ARU board, right through all the others, we've all got accountability for what are long-term trends in not just rugby but in sport. So it was actually a very constructive and civil discussion. There were no discussions of leadership change or any of that nature.
Was there a lot of motion in the room, Cameron?
No, I think people, and we're all in the game because we love and are passionate about the game. So we want to see rugby thrive, and I think. As we've said right from the outset, it's a difficult decision, but we're here because our on-field performance and our financial performance are not what they need to be. And so we want to see success, and we feel this, although it's a difficult move, is set up for success, and the majority of members agree with that.
When it comes to setting up a Super Rugby Commission, and it's another layer of governance potentially for rugby, how do you feel about that?
In many respects, we have an advisory group already. We have the Australian Rugby Strategy Group, which is all the franchise CEOs with Bill and the representative of the smaller states. We've just said, look, we've had that in the past, and it was actually disbanded because it was felt to be not a duplication, but we said we're very happy to discuss it. But I think that's something to be done in the future.
So it's just a discussion, at this point about having...
Well, the resolution was just, will we be open to having discussion around how it might work, and of course we're very open to that, so there was no issue there.
Who are the opponents to going to 4 teams?
Oh, it was a secret ballot, so it wasn't discussed. The majority of the members supported it, so we didn't conduct it in an open forum.
Sure. Would you say the meeting was productive overall? There was some talk as to whether what was the point of having an EGM?
Well, I think the meeting was productive because it gave us the opportunity, I guess, to over the course of a couple of hours to share some additional information on what some of the challenges are, and to answer additional questions. Obviously, one of the challenges in communication is when you've got legal action, is that it does make it difficult to communicate, all the time. So it gave, obviously we weren't able to disclose some issues, but it gave us a chance to dig into some of the issues in a broader sense. So yeah, I thought it was a very constructive meeting.
Is there any timeline of when it might be resolved?
Well, we don't know. We've got obviously teams that are looking to to stay into the competition, so we can't really control that time frame. We've always said we'd like to bring it to a resolution as quickly as possible, but we don't control that timing.
What were some of those issues that were kind of brought to light at one end?
Oh, look, I think the issue is, we've highlighted that there is a long-term trend to declining participation in sport, and declining crowd attendance, and declining people watching sport. Now, it's an easy sort of excuse to say, oh, it's all happened since April when we announced the teams going. These trends have been going for 5 or 6 years. They're actually present in many sports, so we're actually able to talk through some of these declines, the way that fans are engaging differently with sports. We're also able to highlight the fact that our on-field performance has actually stepped down from the introduction of the 4th team and then from the 5th team. So actually to go through what are some of the underlying high performance issues, why has that led to a decline? Because one thing we know is that if teams are performing, then you do engage more fans. If you engage more fans, you get more people watching the game, you get more people going to the game. So there's a straight correlation between that, and I think we just talked through some of the issues around that and was able to sort of get some ideas going about how we can improve that going forward.
Do you think it's somewhat farcical now that the Super Rugby season's almost going to be over? We won't know which team's going to be teams will be playing games potentially for the last time and not know whether they're going to play.
Well, it's a difficult process. As we said all the way along, that we up until we actually made the decision, teams have been communicating to us that if the ARU makes a decision that they want to go from 5 teams to 4, that we'd like that decision to be made quickly. That was the overwhelming feedback we got right through that period when there was only speculation, because we've said repeatedly, no final decision was made until April the 10th, when it was clear that we'd actually been able to maintain the same level of revenue. I mean, that's the critical issue. By maintaining the same level of revenue, we're able to save money and redistribute that money to grassroots rugby. That's the key change that's critical here. And the ARU is absolutely in agreement that we underfund grassroots rugby, no question. So that's the ability to save money and redistribute was the critical point. When we made that decision in April, there had been speculation before that look, potentially team could go. People were saying, if you make that decision, just make it quickly and move on. We were very happy to do that, and that's why we put out a time frame of 48 to 72 hours. We were very prepared to make that decision within that time frame. Obviously, when it became real, the teams that are under threat did at that point in time engage illegal action, as they're entitled to do. So that's obviously put the delay in. Now, when you're making a difficult change, I accept there is criticism that it's taken time. Had I come out on April the 10th and said, we are going to exit a team and it's going to take 4 months, there'd be equal criticism coming back, why is it going to take so long? So, those teams are obviously going down a legal process. That limits the time. It's going to take however long it takes, but we're working as hard as we can to resolve it as quickly as we can. Yeah.
Cameron, there was reports. Bill said that he would be happy to sort of take the temperature of the room there and move on if the feeling was that he wasn't wanted. Was that raised at all?
No.
Can you give us your thoughts?
No, it was not raised at all, actually. I mean, I think, there's no question that being CEO of Australian Rugby is a difficult job. Being CEO of any sport's a difficult job. I mean, again, we need to recognise there are challenges in all sports. I mean, he was just making the obvious point that, these are difficult changes to drive through, and that to drive them through you need support ideally of all the stakeholders. And so he was just making that comment, but that was not raised. In fact, there was the view that, in fact, that there's a collective responsibility right across the game at every level, and this is not about pointing fingers. There was not even a hint of suggestion that would be appropriate or was even discussed.
Do you feel like you and he have the support of the rugby community right now?
Well, I think, look, it's a challenging time, but we absolutely think that we need to invest more money in grassroots and we need to improve on-field performance. And we think this decision, difficult as it is, will be looked back in hindsight as actually being the right decision, because we do believe that when we do reduce to 4 teams, people will see additional money going into grassroots, and we do believe with 4 teams that on-field performance will improve, and we'll look back on this, although this has been a difficult period, and there'll be, I think, support that this was absolutely the right thing for Australian rugby.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.